flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. American, that's what I am, that's what I say, and what I do. I am American, that's what I am, and I bleed red, white, and blue. And I bleed red, white, and blue. It's not about party, it's about what's right. Our American. Taking back our country, come and join the fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Resurrect Republic RTR Truth Media Reloaded. I'm your host for this evening, Lorri Anderson. Later on I will be joined with Eric Hughes Jones as well as host, hopefully, Tom Lacavera Stewart. He has been in the middle of a transition, so we will be thankful if he is also able to join us this evening. As you know, this past week we've been covering Tyler Whitman's case. If you want to hear about Tyler Whitman's case, you can listen to Monday and Tuesday's broadcast. But as well, last night we were covering the symptoms and the electromagnetic hypersensitivity, or otherwise known as EHS, due to smart meters. Well, tonight I'm going to kind of shift a little bit away from that, but it has everything to do with the electromagnetic situations, the smart technology, the smart meters, if you will, even though it's not a smart meter I'm going to be discussing tonight. So I wanted to do a service, and I wanted to look further into and explore these smart technologies, because many individuals have called in and they have mentioned these things, and some people listening to the radio show, well, are they conspiracy theories? Are they crazy people with tinfoil hats? Do they know what they're talking about? What is my topic for tonight? My topic for tonight is active denial technology, or otherwise known as ADT. Is it a conspiracy theory or is it a fact? And I hope to answer those questions for you this evening. So I decided that I was going to dig deeper, and I am going to dig deeper tonight to answer the many questions or statements about the active denial technology, otherwise known as ADT. I want to answer the questions for you. Does it really exist, or are people just conspiracy theorists with tinfoil hats? If it does exist, what is it used for? How does it work? Who has the ability to use it? First, we must establish whether or not it actually exists, and then we will dig deeper and answer the other questions involved. If you would, Mike, please get LV1 ready. This is a video of the active denial technology. This was October 23rd, 2013, and the video was by Sergeant Brittany Fogel from the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate, part of the Department of Defense. Please play LV1, Mike.
DoD's active denial technology and future solid-state active denial technology system will produce a focused beam of directed energy to provide our troops a non-lethal option to stop, deter, and turn back suspicious individuals with minimal risk of injury. Active denial technology is designed to protect the innocent, minimize fatalities, and limit collateral damage across the range of military operations. Active denial technology uses radio frequency millimeter waves at a frequency of 95 gigahertz. Traveling at the speed of light, the millimeter wave directed energy engages the subject, penetrating the skin to a depth of only about 1/64th of an inch. The beam produces an intolerable heating sensation, compelling the targeted individual to instinctively move. For the military, active denial technology can be used for both force application and force protection missions. Applications include crowd control, perimeter security, patrol and convoy protection, and other defensive and offensive operations from both fixed site or mobile platforms. While the active denial system advanced concept technology demonstration succeeded in demonstrating a large-scale version of active denial technology, a smaller scale, more mobile version is being developed by the U.S. Army and the DoD's non-lethal weapons program utilizing solid-state technology. This system will demonstrate and prove out the critical technologies for a follow-on tactical system, which will be an adjunct system that can be installed on a range of tactical or support vehicles. It will have an azimuth drive for full 360-degree coverage, E-steering and azimuth for fine steering control, and full E-steering and elevation. With an invisible beam, speed of light targeting, and silent operation, it can be used in a wide range of operations, such as enhanced combat mobility in dense urban areas, where it quickly and safely moves civilians obstructing vehicle mobility. Or it can be used to safely deter unarmed but suspicious civilians observing U.S. forces. At entry control points, it provides an additional layer of response for dealing with potentially threatening targets and potential crowd violence. It can be quickly de-escalated by targeting the leader, or if necessary, by panning across the entire crowd, while armed individuals mixed in a crowd can be engaged without risk to surrounding civilians. Since the beam can penetrate window glass, it can also be used for non-lethal engagement of suspicious vehicles potentially threatening U.S. forces. The SS-ADT will be a lightweight, non-kinetic, non-lethal anti-personnel system, providing an alternative to lethal force.
Okay, so that was directly from the Department of Defense. I believe I've answered the first question. Yes, active denial technology indeed does exist, has been used, and I have proven that point to you. Of course, after the show, make sure you access the links below the show. You will have access to everything that I'm reporting on tonight, as I always like to provide facts and proof. Wikipedia, and I normally do not quote Wikipedia, however, this is really accurate on this statement, and I have documents to back it up. So, Wikipedia says the active denial system is a non-lethal directed energy weapon developed by the U.S. military, designed for area denial, perimeter security, and crowd control. And formerly, the weapon was also called the heat ray, since it works by heating the surface of targets, such as the skin of targeted human subjects. Raytheon is currently marketing a reduced-range version of the technology. The ADS was deployed in 2010 with the United States military in the Afghanistan war, but was withdrawn without seeing combat. On August 20th, 2010, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, pay close attention, yes, we're talking about ONCON, inside the United States of America, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department announced its intent to use the technology on prisoners in the Pitchless Detention Center in Los Angeles, stating its intent to use it in operational evaluation in situations such as breaking up prisoner fights. The ADS is currently only a vehicle-mounted weapon, though U.S. Marines and police are both working on portable versions. ADS was developed under the sponsorship of the Department of Defense Non-Lethal Weapons Program, with the Air Force Research Laboratory as the lead agency. There are reports that Russia and China are developing their own versions of the active denial system. Now, I'm not going to go into further detail on the Wikipedia because I want to use the Department of Defense documents in order to be able to share those with you. So we are discussing the active denial system, and to really understand, because this of course goes along with what we've been talking about, the electromagnetic hypersensitivity this week and the different side effects from it. This goes down into a lot of that same topic. So I wanted to share with you a couple of other clips so that you can hear firsthand of what the Department of Defense has put out. September 11th, 2013, at a joint base in Langley, Eustis, Virginia, Sergeant Justin Bowling and Corporal Clayton Flipowitz, defense media activity for the U.S. Marines. He traveled to the joint base of Langley, Eustis to show a first-hand look into the Department of Defense's latest advancement in the non-lethal technology, the active denial system. I'm going to let you hear that clip. If you would, Mike, please play LV2.
Hi, I'm Lance Corporal Clayton Filipovich from the Corps Report, and I'm here with the gear. Now we're at Joint Base Langley, Eustis, and we're about to figure out what it takes to get toasted like a bagel. But first, let's learn a little bit more about the active denial system. So right behind me is the ADS system, and what we're going to do is we're going to go on the ship and find out what really makes it bring the heat. So this is where the ADS system is controlled. It's very cramped, small, almost like my living quarters in the barracks. Just kidding. But for real, this is very, very cramped. So the guy's in here, he's controlling the monitors. It's got it pinpointed all the way down to small little crosshairs, and it's really impressive. Probably the coolest thing about this little getup is the Atari-like joystick that they use to control the system. And I'm pretty sure I'd be qualified to operate this system because I'm pretty good at Call of Duty. So you've got the two monitors right here. You could probably play split screen. I don't know. We'll have to ask about that. It's very cramped, and I'm a little claustrophobic, so I am going to go ahead and leave this to professionals and get out. I'm ready, sir. Wow. Wow. So, sir, I've seen this operated on one person, but how does it measure up against a crowd of people?
You can use it in a crowd to move a crowd from one area to the other. That's the beauty of the system. You can actually sweep from left to right, start on one end, and you can get them in the direction that you want to go. So it's very useful to the commander, moving people in a specific direction.
So it's a very effective weapon that has a very broad range of things they can do, and at the same time, it's non-lethal. It's not going to kill
Absolutely.
you. So for the people that think, oh, I'm going to be roasted alive, as soon as you get out of the heat, your skin's fine, you feel normal. And
that's correct.
I really like that about the system.
Yeah.
Some people think that the Marine Corps is all about dropping bodies, but that's just not true. In fact, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, General James Amos, is the Department of Defense's executive agent for non-lethal weapons. Non-lethal weapons are the future of keeping our service members safe. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next installment of With the Gear.
All right. So he not only explained a little bit more. When you actually see the video, you can see that he allowed himself to be hit with this active denial technology. And the system in and of itself, they allege that it is safe. I have a lot of questions that I'm going to be asking towards the end of the presentation of what I'm going to be giving to you tonight, but I found a lot of very interesting information about the active denial system in and of itself. The active denial technology produces a focused beam of directed energy to provide our troops a non-lethal option to stop, deter, and turn back suspicious individuals with minimal risk of injury. The active denial technology is designed to protect the innocent, minimize fatalities, and limit collateral damage across the range of military operations. So how does it work? Active denial technology uses radio frequency millimeter waves at a frequency of 95 gigahertz Traveling at the speed of light, the millimeter wave directed energy engages the subject, penetrating the skin to a depth of only about 1/64th of an inch, or the equivalent of 3 sheets of paper. The beam produces an intolerable heat sensation, compelling the targeted individual to instinctively move. The sensation immediately ceases when the individual moves out of the beam or when the operator turns off the beam. There is minimal risk of injury due to the shallow energy penetration into the skin at the short wavelength and normal human instinctive reactions. Now, when you watch the videos, you see that there is actually someone who is controlling where that beam is being sent to. Continuing on. Military applications. The active denial technology can be used for both force application and force protection missions. Applications include crowd control, patrol, and convoy protection, perimeter security, and other defensive and offensive operations from both fixed site or mobile platforms. Non-lethal directed energy weapons using active denial technology have the potential to provide a non-lethal effect at distances up to and beyond small arms range, providing the U.S. military forces with additional time and space to assess the intent of potential adversaries. The current configurations from 2002 to 2007, the Active Denial System Advanced Concept Technology Demonstration integrated and packaged active denial technology into 2 system configurations. System 1, the technology prototype, integrated the technology into a high-mobility, multi-purpose wheeled vehicle. System 2 was built as an armored, containerized system transportable by tactical vehicles. Please remember that word, tactical vehicles. Both systems successfully completed a series of land and maritime-based military utility assessments. In 2014 through 2015, System 1 was refurbished into a more robust and mobile system transported by the Marine Corps MTVR truck. Both prototypes are long-range, large spot sizes systems are available for service or combatant command exercises and are suitable for operational employment. According to the Department of Defense, the human effects testing on the large-scale version of the active denial technology has included more than 13,000 exposures on volunteer subjects, both in static demonstrations and in realistic operational assessments. Both laboratory research and full-scale test results demonstrated that there was only a 0.1% chance of injury from a System 1 or a System 2 exposure. Research on the safety and effectiveness of a 95 gigahertz millimeter wave directed energy has been peer-reviewed in numerous professional journals and independently reviewed by the Human Effects Advisory Panel. A copy of the panel's report is available on the Department of Defense website. Technology demonstrations. Due to the novel nature of the active denial technology non-lethal effect, the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Program has had a proactive strategy in raising the awareness on the benefits, safety, and effectiveness of this new technology. Several major broadcast and print media reporters have attended technology demonstrations, allowing for first-hand accounts on experiencing the effect of System 1 or 2. Active denial technology has been featured on CBS's 60 Minutes, the Discovery Channel's Future Weapons program, and the History Channel's Modern Marvels program. A U.S. Marine-produced active denial technology video can be also viewed at the Department of Defense website. While the active denial system advanced concept technology demonstration succeeded in demonstrating a large-scale version of the active denial technology, a smaller scale, more mobile version is also of military interest. Several efforts are underway to identify new millimeter wave sources that will allow for reduced size, weight, and system costs with instant turn-on and shoot-on-the-move capabilities. And on that note, we'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors. Hang with us to learn more.
This is the most transparent administration in history.
Corporate media dominates the American opinion. Finding independent voices that counter this avalanche is becoming increasingly difficult. With the endless corruption running rampant throughout our government, independent voices are needed more than ever to battle the offensive against our freedoms and liberties. As a listener of RBN, no one understands this concept better than you. Now it's up to you to do your part. The time has come for you to take action and begin broadcasting the truth to hundreds or thousands of people every month. Sound impossible? Quite the contrary. With pointed slogans from LibertyStickers.com, you can reach countless sleeping Americans unaware that they live in a real-life wonderland. LibertyStickers.com has a huge inventory of political bumper stickers and messages that reflect the truth about our government, our politicians, and the future of America. With so many in stock, there's one perfect for you. Visit us today at LibertyStickers.com. Again, that's LibertyStickers.com. Do your part. Your voice is important. Let it be heard.
As a listener of RBN, you're surely concerned about being informed and being ready for whatever may come. Please consider the following questionnaire as a soul-jarring wake-up call. If you answer no to more than 2 of these following questions, you probably aren't going to make it through any major disruption in our country. The questions were compiled by people that have been there. Are you really ready? Do you own your own firearm for the primary defense and protection of you and your loved ones? Have you ever been professionally trained to stand against life-threatening behavior? Have you ever practiced enough to fire 500 rounds during a 2 to 4 day time frame, day and night? Can you load, unload, fire, and clear a jam in total darkness? Have all the adults in your household been professionally trained? Are you, life and death, comfortable with your abilities with pistol, revolver, shotgun, and rifle? Are you aware that everything that you do to prepare for an emergency is a waste of time, money, and energy? If you haven't honed your abilities to their highest level to protect and keep what you have? Do you have the repair parts that will most likely be needed for each of your firearm, and do you have the ability to install those parts? Could you completely clean every firearm you own? Are you aware that your body won't go where your mind hasn't been? In other words, without proper training, followed by regular practice, you probably will not win a gunfight. Well, how did you measure up? Take the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to start correcting your deficiencies by receiving your Commander Lifetime Membership with Front Sight Firearms Training Facility. A one-time donation to RBN for $500 will give you a Commander Lifetime Membership at Front Sight as a tremendously huge thank you bonus. See details on RBN's webpage to make it happen. The clock is ticking. You had better be ready before it happens.
A revolution needs a war, and this war needs a revolutionary rise for your eyes. The Constitution speaks of speech that's free. Open your mouth from sea to shine and see. So will the real Americans please stand up? No more hiding your face in the sand. Will the real Americans please stand up? Divided we're falling, but united we'll stand.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Resurrect the Republic, RTR Truth Media Reloaded. I'm your host for this evening, Lorri Anderson, who will be joined hopefully by Thomas Lacavera Stewart a little bit later on in the show, as well as Eric Hughes Jones, hopefully later on this evening, so that he can give us an update on the Tyler Whitman situation if he has any new information. Currently, I am speaking with you about the ADT, active denial technology. Does it exist? Well, I think I've proven already that yes, it does. So that also means the individuals who call into the show and they start talking about the ADT or the active denial technology or active denial system, they are not crazy conspiracy tinfoil hat wearing individuals. They actually know what they're speaking about. I wanted to make sure that this was known because this goes a little bit deeper than what we may think. So as I was researching on the active denial technology, I found some very interesting information. And before I get to that information, I'm going to play the last clip that I have from the Department of Defense, and it is the active denial system demo. It was recorded in March 9th of 2012. The video was done by Sergeant Andrew Milner, Defense Media Activity, and it was done in Quantico, Virginia. If you would please, Mike, play that clip. It's not.
Hi, I'm Lance Corporal Clayton Filipovich from the Corps Report, and I'm here with the gear. Now we're at Joint Base Langley, Eustis, and we're about to figure out what it takes to get toasted like a bagel. But first, let's learn a little bit more about the active denial system.
Okay. Okay, so the video, apparently, I apologize to everyone. I didn't give the correct link for that. However, you did hear the other two clips in which the Department of Defense put out themselves. For the other, I do apologize. However, you can find this on the source links below the show, and you can see for yourself exactly how it works. Later on in the show, after I go through some more facts with you, I'm going to ask you some questions, and they are very thought-provoking. However, let's remember the MRAPs that we have all over the United States of America. Do they have the possibility of holding the active denial technology? We'll answer that. Okay, do you have it, Mike? Okay.
Marines and several other DoD representatives had quite the heated demonstration at Quantico, Virginia from the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate.
This is a military area. Move away from the perimeter. I say again, this is a military area. Move away from the perimeter.
Their new active denial system boasts a reach far beyond any other non-lethal system.
Well, it's a versatile system, and it has a range of non-lethal capability that we can't even come close to with any of our fielded systems today that are in our military forces.
About 7 football fields to give it some perspective. It can deter individuals on a military perimeter all the way up to a riotous crowd, all without permanent harm.
It only penetrates 1/64 of an inch of your skin, goes very shallow into where your nerve receptors are, and there's no permanent injury caused by it. Very safe system. We've built in some safety margins and training for the operators.
They even let any of the guests volunteer to test out its effectiveness and safety, including the Assistant Commandant of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and Assistant Secretary of the Navy. Most described it as feeling like a hot oven or grill being opened up.
It is something that, once again, probably the safest system that we've developed as far as the non-lethal capability.
From Washington, I'm Sergeant Andrew Milner.
So as you can see, they were testing it on individuals. You will be able to access those clips. I wanted to talk to you about the MRAPs and the different things that I found with this technology. So the active denial technology basically will make you feel, if you are hit with that beam, extremely hot and make you move away from that area. Well, speaking about those MRAPs, if you don't know what an MRAP means, it means Mine Resistant Ambush Protected Vehicle. And we'll get back to you after a couple of words from our sponsors. We'll cover those MRAPs for you.
Of the left hypocrisy. Little pink houses for you and me. Welcome to the face.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you one from Amazon.com. I just wanted you to know I saw my doctor and I laughed because he said, "I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it." I have been taking Extendivite. I had borderline high blood pressure, heart flutter, high cholesterol. I changed my diet and included Extendivite with an amazing turnaround for the better. A few months later, I had a doctor's appointment and took a stress test. I passed. No heart flutter, blood pressure was perfect. My doctor even took me off my medicine. I thank you truly from the bottom of my heart. This stuff works, and I'm so grateful for Extendivite. Thank you, Justin G. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcast. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AirOutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AirOutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AirOutfitting.com.
There's a reason I'm standing in the midst of the madness. It matters less if I'm hurting, more that I say what must be said. It may not be now, but someday you'll understand that the gift of power is the kindness in your hands. I'm not falling before you, begging for mercy, but to speak the truth, to say how it should be. We are the hands and feet, not the enemy. We are born free.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Resurrect the Republic RTR, Truth Media Reloaded. We're born free, and as such, we must speak out. And tonight, we're having an interesting conversation about the active denial technology, also known as ADT. It's not conspiracy theory, it is fact. So what I was getting ready to go over had to do with the MRAN. MRAPs, known as mine-resistant ambush protected vehicles. Yes, we know our military uses them, but we also know that these MRAPs have been put all around the United States of America, being allowed into the police departments, sheriff's departments, and widely used over the years. Many of the SWAT teams and individuals that are not even in SWAT teams have been caught using MRAPs because those vehicles, of course, have been quote-unquote needed, as the police departments say, even though that's not really the reality. Our police and our sheriffs across this union are better armed than many of our men and women overseas in active combat. So I wanted to bring up the fact about the MRAPs. And what I am going to be reading off of, it is Plans, Policies, and Operations Mine-Resistant Ambush Protected Vehicle MRAP Ground Combat Element Advocate Science and Technology Advisor Case Study. It states the views expressed in the study constitute the personal views of the author and do not represent those of PLI, PL, PP&O, HQMC, USMC, DON, or the DoD. However, the information that is in this document by Franz J. Gall, January 22nd, 2008, is very interesting. The Information Operations and Space Integration Branch, PLI, Strategy, Plans and Division, PL, Plans and Policies and Operations, which is the PP&O, Headquarters, United States Marine Corps. So according to this document, the Active Denial Technology System, ADS or ADT, before and since the declaration of the war on terrorism in 2001, the U.S. has faced an asymmetrically advantaged enemy who gains disproportionate propaganda advantages from media images of the U.S. U.S.'s excessive use of lethal kinetic force. Such images have harmed the USMCIO and public affairs. Campaigns with a significant adverse impact on the ability of the Marine Corps operating forces to accomplish their missions in Al-Anbar Province, Iraq. Operationalization of non-kinetic NLW technologies is critical to mitigating this non-trivial impact. In a minute, everything is going to connect for you, I hope. Pay attention to wording very carefully, especially if you are a long-time listener and you've listened to me talk about mastering the human domain. I'm Jade Helm 15, please pay attention to the terminology. Since 2001, the most promising NLW technology has been and remains active denial technology-based DEW capabilities and systems. ADT is also the most mature NLW poster child of JNLWP. Operational benefits of ADT's demonstrated NLW effects are not debatable. As evidence, since 2001, multiple expressions of need from operators have been submitted in an effort to accelerate the fielding of an initial ADT capability, as well as influence further technology development towards expeditionary weapons suitability. Since 2001, the two ADT UNS have been received from 2 MEF and 1 ADT UUNS and 1 ADT JUONS have originated with IMEF. Several additional ADT needs have originated with HQMC, Advocates, the U.S. Army, CENTCOM, and the 1st Marine Division. Most pertinent current need originated with IMEF for a long-range NLW that specifically requests only operationally effective and suitable ADT configurations that can be mass-produced, namely the COTS, COTS, all capitals, all together, Silent Guardian, and the Active Denial System 2. Now, in this document, it states that the CMC DoD EA for the NLW development has, under his charge, the JNLWD, the USMC, which is, of course, U.S. Marine Corps, and ST Program, Requirements Division of the MCCDC. It is the collective character of these organizations to transition ADT in support of requesting United States Marine Corps operating forces. In spite of numerous expressed United States Marine Corps needs for the ADT since 2001, no MCCDC or U.S. Marine Corps ST&T funding has been programmed to develop for field ADT in vehicle integrated configurations of operator interest or in the miniaturization of enabling technologies such as solid-state ADTs. Now, I'm not going to continue to read out of this. However, this document shows the ADT system on vehicles that are much like our MRAPs. Am I saying our MRAPs have them? No. I'm saying it is a possibility, and that is definitely something to look into, as we have been fighting consistently with the police state initiative for years. We know that what we just read off of Wikipedia also points to that the sheriff's department out in California was also wanting one to use. Who knows, maybe they have one in one of their local MRAPs. Now, with that being said, there is quite a lot of information that I wanted to tie together for you that I found a little bit disturbing. And I know if Tom is listening, he will know exactly where I'm going with this. In the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Program Science and Technology Strategic Plan, that publication is for 2016 through 2025. And let me read to you just one part of what they have in here. Quote, the National Security Strategy, NSS, of February 2015 reconfirms national level priorities by outlining the ways and means to safeguard our national interests through strong and sustainable leadership. It lays out the principles and priorities to guide the use of American power and influence across the globe and continues to emphasize the need to strengthen further U.S. and international capacity to prevent conflict among and within states, in part through providing leadership in S&T and innovation, and emphasizes that scientific discovery and technological innovation empower American leadership with a competitive edge that secures our military advantage, propels our economy, and improves the human condition. As a follow-on to the National Security Strategy, the June 2015 National Military Strategy outlines the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff rendering of the U.S. military contributions to national security. It describes how the employment of our military forces will protect and advance our national interests through adapting to new threats, maintaining comparative advantage over traditional ones, supporting the other instruments of national power, enabling our network of allies and partners, and continuing to emphasize agility, innovation, and integration. The NMS provides an integrated approach composed of the three national military objectives: to deter, deny, and defeat state adversaries, to disrupt, degrade, and defeat violent extremist organizations, and to strengthen our global network of allies and partners. It notes that the U.S. military pursues these objectives by conducting globally integrated operations, implementing institutional reforms at home, and sustaining the capabilities, capacity, and readiness required to prevail in conflicts that may differ significantly in scope, scale, and duration. It further states, quote, we are aligning our programmatic efforts to take advantage of insights gleaned from the Defense Innovation Initiative, which is aimed at identifying potential strategic and operational advantages through wargaming, concept development, and a wide array of technology investments. I continue. Strategic drivers. The national and military strategic guidance described above, along with the other joint and service strategy documents, are relatively consistent in their renderings of the future security environment. They outline a complex, interconnected world that is increasingly locked together by trade and technology. While non-state actors and natural disasters continue to disturb what stability exists, nearly all the documents predict that the United States will continue to be engaged in addressing terrorist groups and transnational crime, but will do so by increasing the number of expeditionary and light operations as opposed to sustained military campaigns. Their forecasts for the 2025 timeframe also include less well-understood trends that could affect upcoming developments of NLWs and how they are employed. These strategic drivers include megacities, engagement and special operations, emphasis on non-kinetic fires, dispersed, non-linear battlefields, unmanned systems. Continuing on, it says under the megacities, quote, globally, more people live in urban areas than in rural areas. In 1950, 30% of the world's population resided in urban areas, and by 2050, 66% of it is projected to growth of megacities. Currently, 34 megacities with 24 along the laterals. By 2030, recognize that number, everyone? Agenda 2030, maybe? By 2030, expected to be 39 and 29, respectively. That's the Department of the Navy, the future of naval innovation. Quote, today there are currently 34 megacities, cities with populations of 10 million or more in the world, a number that is expected to grow to nearly 40 during the next 10 years, with many of them emerging in the Asia-Pacific region. In addition to being the epicenters of human activity, they are also expected to challenge future operational planners as they've been characterized by. This is what they've been characterized by, everybody. Poverty and social unrest, massive infrastructure limitations, environmental and pollution concerns, increased disease transmission due to close quarters and minimal sanitation and public health infrastructure, ungoverned neighborhoods and spaces, challenging demographics with young, unemployed citizens. Taken together, these megacity characteristics highlight the prospect of instability over stability, as they also hold high propensity for unrest, disruption, and disorder on a large scale, and will likely be the focus of urban operations as the joint force responds to future hotspots. Why do I keep bringing this up? Because some individuals probably think, oh, this is just talking about overseas. How many of you remember me covering Mastering the Human Domain in Jade Helm 15? Tom and I, for a very long time, have connected those dots. As you heard when I was reading through this document, it is about the National Security Strategy, February 2015. Anyone remember what national security strategy that was? That was the one that President Obama put forth, the TPP and the International Order in Chapter 5. This is what they're going off of. When we connected dots, the Special Operations Forces and the situation with Jade Helm 15 and Mastering the Human Domain, we connected the dots that they would be working with quote-unquote interagency partners. Those interagency partners were all the way up from Department of Homeland Security, FBI, local police officers, sheriffs, town councils. Yeah. And then RAND Corporation was so polite to put out a document trying to figure out a way to get around that Posse Comitatus Act. So what they did was they suggested that, well, in a way to get around it is them not be active military, but NGOs. Yeah, are we starting to get the picture? However, I want to flip this. for a minute, because we know this technology does exist. I have proven this. So explain to me why, when the things were going on in Ferguson a long time ago and all the riots were going on, why didn't they just pull out an ADS? When we have our border wide open and individuals are wanting the border sealed and shut, why don't we just have people out there with an ADS system which would stop them? We'll ask a couple more of those questions after a couple words from our sponsors. Let's get people thinking, and let's get it done right. We'll be right back.
Let me tell you how it's gonna work, kids. You're working hard like your parents both did. Everything you earn by breaking your backs, we're gonna redistribute when we make our pay tax. Hey, sit back down, don't be a jerk.
Homeowners, if your lender has gone out of business or sold your transaction to another lender or servicer, you may be the victim of a wrongful foreclosure, resulting in the loss of your home. If you've already lost your home, are in foreclosure, or even in good standing, you can challenge the mortgage transaction's illegal issue, and your property can be restored to you, and your foreclosure can be stopped or reversed, and the mortgage transaction declared unenforceable. State laws, U.S. title codes, the Uniform Commercial Codes, and U.S. Supreme Court rulings have upheld that defective mortgage documentations can reverse or stop foreclosures and enforce property title claims in favor of the homeowner. We are having successes in stopping the process of foreclosure, the enforcement of the foreclosure judgments, the sale of property, and evictions after the sale. We are not attorneys, and we don't give legal advice. We are a professional team of legal researchers, providing forensic mortgage audits and expert witnesses. We have the knowledge to produce the evidence and enforce laws regarding your legal issues. We've been in business for 12 years without a complaint. Consultations are free, and we provide a free title search to confirm if your mortgage has legal defects. Please call 855-253-3748. 855, the number 2, keep it today.
Do you worry a lot? If you're forgetful, nervous, moody, or overwhelmed, chances are you're not protecting yourself from the ravaging effects of stress and anxiety. No matter the cause, ongoing stress and elevated levels of the stress hormone cortisol can rob your memory, your health, your quality of life, and your future. Now you can combat the effects of stress and anxiety while improving your memory and recall at the same time with the dietary supplement Calm and Clever. Studies show that the ingredients in Calm and Clever reduce cortisol by as much as 30% in as little as 1 to 2 weeks and increase your ability to recall facts, names, and numbers in 4 to 12 weeks. Calm and Clever was created by scientist Kurt Hendricks, a principal investigator in 2 NIH-funded studies on Alzheimer's disease. Try Calm and Clever for 2 months. You'll feel the difference. Call 1-800-758-8746 or go to calmandclever.com.
Extendivite really works. Just listen to what some people have to say.
About 6 months ago, my wife bought Extendivite. She didn't tell me she was giving it to me. So after about 3 days, I said, maybe the weather's changed or something. I said, my legs feel really good. And she goes, well, I've been giving you this stuff, and it was the Extendivite. And you know that I'm about 75% better. I can actually climb stairs now, and I can get up out of chairs. I can even get down and, I got to work under a table or a computer table and work on a computer. I can actually get back up off the floor. You know what? It's an amazing product. I didn't think anything short of having surgery was going to help.
Extendivite is only $69.95 for a 2-month supply of either capsules or liquid. Call now. That's 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendovite.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Resurrect Public's RTR Truth Media Reloaded. And we have been discussing the active denial technology, the ADT possibility of being on MRAPs. And right now, I am reading to you out of the Strategic Plan for 2016 through 2025, Science and Technology Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Program. we were discussing the megacities. It states, continues to state the U.S. military is capable of operations in urban environments, but the mere scale of these megacities will present challenges in addressing security, intelligence gathering, strategic partnerships, and regional stability. This will require new capabilities and concepts as well as changes to policy and doctrine. Army Chiefs of Staff Future Study Plan, the megacity operational challenges for the force to 2025 and beyond, states it most succinctly. Quote, to be effective in this sort of environment, security forces will need to blend police, infantry, and military special forces. They must have the capability for higher granular intelligence collection and knowledge management and for rapid networking, partnership building, and innovation. Unquote. The effective employment of non-lethal weapons will be critical in the measured responses to situations our forces encounter in these challenging operating environments. So as I agree, it is a great thing to have weaponry that is not killing people. I saw the demonstrations myself, and it was pretty impressive. Are they going to be using that on us? It would be better than using bullets, in my opinion. Or tear gas. Now, before I went to break, I was discussing with you the border. Or Ferguson riots. Why wasn't this type of technology utilized? We know they are combining the Special Operations Command, Special Forces, otherwise known as SOFs, Special Operations Forces. They are integrating those with Department of Homeland Security, with the FBI, with local law enforcement, sheriff's departments. We know this because Operation Jade Helm exposed that. Mastering the Human Domain surely exposed that. Rand Corporation all the way up to CFR also exposed that. 21st Century Police Force document exposed that, which was going on during the Obama administration. However, note that the years of this document I'm reading off of is 2016 through 2025, and here's the kicker. It is going off the National Security Strategy for February 2015, which was the exact direct threat to all of the people in our union. We'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors. Hang with us.
Welcome to the face of the new democracy. Here in the land of the not so free.
Interested in photo ops.
Do you know there is an ongoing war right here in America? Are you aware that U.S. citizens have been classified as enemies of the state since 1933? Have you recognized that our entire government is really a vast network of interlocking corporations engaged in commerce? Look up Title 28, Section 3002. Tune in to In Defense of Humanity on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Central Time. Find out what's really going on and learn how to protect yourself and your family as flesh and blood men and women living in a corporate reality.
You're listening to Republic Broadcasting Network
Because you can handle the truth.
Like a storm growing across the horizon. There's a reckoning coming like Judgment Day. Finally, we've been awakened from this nightmare. Voice upon voice, like a crashing wave. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? The soul of freedom is crying out. Can you hear us now?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Resurrect the Republic, RTR, Truth Media Reloaded. I'm your host for this evening, Lorri Anderson. We are learning about active denial technology, also known as ADT. Yes, it does in fact exist. So the question that I am asking is, why don't we have this on the border? Because if we were to project the type of weaponry, if somebody was trying to come across the border, they could simply hit them with that and they would run the opposite direction. If you see the testing, you can see that. Or better yet, let's talk Syria for a second, because tomorrow night, Tom Lacavera Stewart will be on tomorrow night and we will be covering Syria together. So with this type of technology, why even use those bullets if it does so well as what's shown in the video? Why couldn't they have run out all of those terrorists out of those towns once the civilians got out, or even with the civilians there? Because the way that they do it is they turn the weaponry itself. They hit an individual person, or they can hit a crowd by scrolling over the crowd. So why are so many people dying because of bombs or because of bullets when they have the capability to do this type of thing? You know my stand on Syria. We should not even be there. It's illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional. No excuse for it. We'll cover more about that tomorrow night, though. Let's discuss the border. Let's discuss those riots. Why wasn't active denial technology used in that situation? It's apparent that already some sheriff's departments are trying to utilize or at least get the ability to do that. Do the MRAPs have the capability to have ADT? Absolutely. In some of the videos from the Department of Defense, you can see that it goes a good long ways, and not only that, they can shoot that beam through the windows of your vehicles, through windows in your homes. Shall we think about that option to protect and help to save some lives? Or will it be a worse idea to implement it? What got me digging into this in the first place, a lot of people called in, started talking about it, and then you have other people that think that they were tinfoil hat wearing nut jobs, and so I had to prove or disprove what they were talking about. They were right. We'll be covering some other electromagnetic instruments and smart technology that you may or may not be aware of, so that when people do call in and say certain things, you realize they know what they're talking about instead of being a person in a corner with a dunce hat. Careful what you automatically draw a conclusion without research. We're going to be researching quite a bit in the next couple of weeks, educating as I'm learning myself on different things. I love learning, but even more, I find it disturbing. And in this specific document, they're quoting the 2015 National Security Strategy of February. Let's remember that Special Operations Force's main goal is to implement the National Security Strategy of the President. 2015 National Security Strategy, if you do not know, was under President Obama, was very much for the new international order, pro-TPP, to get it implemented, pro-UN Agenda 21, even though they didn't call it UN Agenda 21, it was those environmental needs. Do away with the sovereignty of each and every state of our union. So from what I understand, I now have Eric from Courtroom Observers, Eric Hughes Jones of Courtroom Observers. Very phenomenal individual, fighting for the rights of every individual that he can help. Lately, he's been helping to fight for the rights of Tyler Whitman. I'm glad he brought Tyler Whitman's case to my attention, and hopefully we'll be able to hear some sort of new news. If we don't have any new news, then Eric can just hang with me and we can discuss back and forth these technologies and the different ideas. Hi, Eric. How are you doing tonight?
Good, Lori. Thanks for having me back. I appreciate you taking so much time to really pick apart all these issues that are peripheral but still related to Tyler's case. Once again, just doing the one case at a time approach, we're uncovering all kinds of stuff, that illustrate what's going on in the deep, dark corners of our corporate medical establishment. And now, and we've heard the scare stories about the veterans, and here we have the case firsthand. There's nothing really new to report. Unfortunately, he's still being poisoned with the Seroquel. And I didn't expect him to be released immediately because the court order for his release is pending in just a couple of weeks. I didn't expect him to jump the gun and just let him go. But I do expect the poison pill to cease and desist being forced down his throat. And so I encourage people to keep calling the numbers that we gave out on Monday and Tuesday. I do know people have been calling. I got reports from several of our listeners as to what they encountered when they called, and in my follow-up calls, I encountered quite a few voicemail boxes that were full. So that's good news. At least people, and the only thing that's going to get him out right now is public pressure, public attention on his case. We have him being force-fed a pill called Seroquel, which the maker AstraZeneca knew full well caused cardiac arrest, infectious pneumonia, and sudden death, among other symptoms and other ailments. And they still kept marketing it, and they still kept paying doctors to put it out on the market. And the Justice Department in the state of South Carolina, with 36 other states and over 20,000 individuals, as Lorri reported, successfully sued. So, I mean, what in God's name is going on that our Veterans Administration, our psychiatric establishment, the Court of Columbia, South Carolina, and the private care facility are all forcing this guy to take a medication that is known to be fatal? So it really is bothering me that the poisoning is still occurring. Keep the calls coming on, people. If he gets released on his release date, that'd be great. The pill thing needs to stop now. That's why I'm encouraging people to continue calling so they realize. I mean, Lorri said give them the benefit of the doubt. I kind of have to go on to think that they already know. But Lori's right. Let's approach it with an optimistic, positive outlook and say, hey, do you know that this Seroquel pill that you're forcing this man to take is poisonous? And they lost the lawsuit over it. I mean, it's already in the court record that this stuff is deadly. So you don't have to, there's not much of a stretch. You don't have to do much convincing, I wouldn't think, to get this to cease and desist immediately. So think outside the box, be creative. We couldn't give every number of every public official out, so track down the state senators for the state of South Carolina, the governor's office. The governor, if I'm not mistaken, Lorri, is former military, and he's also up for re-election. So remind him that if he'd like to be re-elected, I mean, it would be really wise to stand up for the veterans that are being abused. In this case, a veteran named Tyler Whitman being held in Columbia, South Carolina. So that's just kind of my spiel. Now, I do have, you can ask me, if you have anything you want to ask, but I wanted to answer your question. Why are these non-lethal? And first of all, let me say two things. I'll be brief. I'm so encouraged by the comments of the military spokesman that this is okay. It doesn't do any permanent damage. There's nothing to worry about. Non-lethal. It's just going to make you crawl out of your skin for a few minutes. Yeah, like the vaccines were no problem. The vaccines don't hurt you. Let's see, what else? The mercury doesn't hurt you. The depleted uranium's okay. That doesn't hurt you. Fukushima's no problem. GMO food, what are you talking about? This stuff's fine. So if anybody is trusting the fact that this stuff does not do any, I can almost guarantee you there's permanent DNA damage done by these weapons when they're used. They are absolutely lethal. You know what they are, though? They're a slow kill instead of a fast kill. Now, the reason they were not used in Ferguson, let me preface this second comment by saying, of course, these weapons were absolutely developed for us. The United States is the only country standing in the way of the New World Order in any serious manner right now as far as the people. The grassroots, because of one thing, the Second Amendment. And until the reason they didn't use it in Ferguson, and they haven't used it in any type of major situation yet, it's because people are going to open fire. They're going to shoot back. When you start making people crawl out of their skin and feel like they're on fire, I can guarantee they're going to open fire. And the Marines are going to have to go to the bullet box, and they're going to have to, you might as well just throw the non-lethal stuff out the window, because as soon as they use it, they're going to get a whole hailstorm of bullets. I can almost guarantee it. It doesn't matter if they're in the city, the country, the suburbs. I don't care where they are. They're going to be return fire. People aren't going to take it. So they realize when they pull this genie out of the bottle, it ain't going back in. So until they get the guns, they're not going to be able to pull this off. That's why there's such a big push to stage these shootings and then pass a whole ton of laws through the bar members in the legislature, enforced by the bar members in the witches' court, and executed by the street Nazis to take those guns under new laws. And once they got the guns, this stuff will come out. They'll be happy to use it all the time.
So here's my question for you, Eric, because I agree that it should not be used inside the United States of America. But what about the border?
Well,
here's what is your opinion on that?
The solution for the border has already been put forth, a perfect solution by a man named Glenn Spencer. He has an organization called American Border Patrol. It's nothing to do with the government, although he's trying to work with the government as much as he can. He owns a giant ranch on the border and deals with all of the nightmares and problems of being a border property owner. He came up with a system of sonar, sound detection devices that's like an above-ground sonar. It's not radar, but it's a sound detection system where he would strategically place on the hilltops, high position, so they had a long range, a few here, a few there, not many. It didn't take a lot of them because he had it mapped out where with a certain hilltops, he could cover this whole border with very few of these devices, which were not expensive to begin with. And every time somebody came, and it would be calibrated to tell the difference between a coyote and a man or a woman or a deer. And he had it set up, and it worked great. Apparently, it was only going to be, $40 or $50 million to do it. He has an airplane that he flew congressmen over to show him what he was going to do. He made the presentation to the government, and they said, thanks, but no thanks. We need that border open. That's the solution is right there. A bunch of sound detector devices at the top of the hills at high points, and then anybody that walks across immediately sets off that what would you call it, kind of an invisible fence. And in comes the Border Patrol and scoops them up. If you want to stop it, it's done deal overnight for very little money. That's the solution to the border. Nobody wants to talk about it. I know you probably didn't know about it, Lorri. That's why you didn't. But that's the solution in my opinion.
Okay, but and that would definitely be something to look into. Okay.
However,
what I'm saying is that still allows for the individuals to step foot on our land. Okay, with the information that I got and the videos that I watched and how it does it, it would deter them from even stepping on the land. Like if there's a mass, let me give you an example. Okay, let's say there's a mass exodus and there's 150 people in this group, and this group is coming over, right? And they are getting ready to step onto our land. If they're hit with that direct energy weapon, the active denial technology, they will go the opposite direction, is what I'm saying, without any shots being fired and without them stepping onto our land. Now, I'm not saying for permanent. I'm saying as a way to deter illegal crossers until the other could be set up like what you were talking about. But still, somebody has to be on the property in order to engage that sonar.
Okay, yep, it's very tempting, and I'm tempted to say, yeah, zap them. If they're bum rushing the border, zap them. But it sets the precedent for it to happen to us, too. And once those weapons are used on them, they're going to be used on us. They ought to just be outright banned, and the government just behave itself, and then people won't rise up and rebuild because they're starving and broke and losing their property. I mean, I'm vets being abused. I don't blame them. This is what they want. No, I'm almost tempted to agree with you, Lorri, and it is tempting, but you know what's going to happen? They're going to get comfortable zapping people with their fancy weapons that are provided by the military-industrial complex and happily supported by the Trump administration, and they're just going to start willy-nilly. You're never going to see the solution of the sonar, the sound detection devices ever implemented because they're going to have their zapping party of. I just don't like it. It's not. I don't think it's good. We need to force the government to install the right proper system and do it now. Hey, just increase the Border Patrol and use the technology we have for now until that sound detection device grid is installed. But if you give them another option that's non-lethal, and I would contend it's eventually lethal, that if you're exposed to this, I'm sure it does long-term damage to the DNA.
Right, through the electromagnetic pulses, yeah.
If we let them fall back on that position and that weapon now to secure the border, you're never going to get rid of it. You're never going to get the real solution put into place, and we're going to be stuck with that, and it's going to set a very bad precedent for them to use it on us patriots.
Well, and I definitely see that side of things too. That's why, I'm kind of going back and forth with you about this thought pattern of it. But, as far as the reality too of a lot of the border crossers are not because they're fleeing because of financial difficulties or they're fleeing because they're targeted. A lot of them are being sent in here by the Soros. And a lot of them are being funded and paid to come over here. A lot of the individuals are also sent in by drug cartels, So we have to remember that. There's a lot of, and I'm not talking about just Mexico, a lot of individuals, whether it be Saudi Arabia, whether it be Cuba, whether it be wherever they're coming from, a lot of times what happens is they, Guatemala, they'll come up through Mexico, Now,
let me add one third, probably real brief, one third component to what you just named. You mentioned Soros, who is the funding agent. You mentioned the drug cartels, who are the delivery agent. There's one more component, and I'm just going to tell you this is a fact, and I know a lot of people don't like to hear this, but there's an agency that resettles all these invaders in local communities, finds them an apartment, gets them a welfare check, puts them on the social, gives them a card to vote
Department
Democrat.
of Homeland Security.
Absolutely not. It's called Catholic Family Charities.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Department of Homeland Security when they were taking them
they're in it.
And they're processing and dropping them off.
They don't have enough money to pay for all this or enough brains to orchestrate it. This is done by Catholic Family Charities, and you know who Catholic Family Charities works for. I don't want to use the V word I'm sorry. All roads lead to Rome is still true to this day.
All right, and we'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors. Get ready to call in if you want to talk to us, 1-800-313-3776. 9443. We want to hear from you. We'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors.
This is the most transparent administration in history.
Homeowners, are you in foreclosure, expecting to be served with a foreclosure lawsuit, or suspect your lender has coerced you into an illegal mortgage transaction? A huge number of mortgages made in the last 10 years have legal issues and are possibly defective. State laws and the U.S. Supreme Court have upheld that defective mortgage documents are grounds for foreclosure defense and for counterclaims in favor of the homeowner. If your mortgage has been sold or assigned since closing the loan, it may be defective and you may be paying the wrong party, and the lender may not have standing or the right to foreclose or collect payments under the law. If you would like to know if your mortgage is legal or not, or know if you are paying the right party, we can help. Our initial consultations are free of charge. We are not attorneys. We are legal researchers and work closely with experienced lawyers who know how to help you find the evidence to help you keep your home. Call toll-free 1-855-2-KEEP-IT. That's 1-855-2-KEEP-IT today.
Folks, we're living in a world the likes of which we've never perceived any clearer than we do now. The plan for global governance has been in the works for generations and would have likely been achieved by now but for the fact that the globalists left open their Achilles heel. With all their tools, Federal Reserve System, fiat currency, no child left behind, and then Common Core education introduced to our schools to dumb us down, vaccines, pharmaceuticals to lobotomize us, GMO foods, insertion of compromised or bought and paid for politicians, judges, mainstream media propaganda, all pieced together like a puzzle designed to ultimately bring the world under submission. But with all their strategy, they forgot one thing: knowledge. And knowledge is power. With knowledge, their bombardment is nullified. Folks, with that, as brilliant and knowledgeable as you've become, among the wisest audience of any radio audience in the world, and you are, I want you to take a moment to reflect and ask yourself, how much of that knowledge did I obtain from Republic Broadcasting Network? How high has my consciousness been raised since I've been a listener? How fast am I now able to discriminate truth from fake news by being a Republic Broadcasting listener? How clear am I now able to see the world since I've been listening to RBN? Ask yourselves those questions, folks. Then ask yourself, what is that knowledge worth to me? Like my morning coffee, how would I survive without it? A voice of truth in a sea of lies. Do we not all need to make sure it survives? Like public broadcasting, we are now finding we can only survive with listener support. Censorship, advertisers being attacked, truth itself being attacked. It's the only way through this. We at Republic Broadcasting humbly ask you to become a supporter. Look at your budget and make a determination of what Republic Broadcasting is worth to you and what you can afford on a monthly basis. Go to republicbroadcasting.org and pledge $20, $30, $40, $50, if possible, $100 a month or more if it's affordable. Click the donate button and become a regular monthly donor. Assure both us and yourself that Republic Broadcasting truth will continue to flow like that morning coffee. The network thanks you.
A revolution needs a war, and this war needs a revolutionary prize for your eyes. The Constitution speaks of speech that's free. Open your mouth from sea to shining sea. Will the real Americans please stand up? No more hiding your face in the sand. Will the real Americans please stand up? Divided we're falling, but united we'll stand.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Resurrect the Republic, RTR, Truth Media Reloaded. I'm your host for this evening, Lorri Anderson, and we've been discussing the active denial technology, also known as ADT. Yes, it does exist. No, the individuals talking about it do not have tinfoil hats and are not conspiracy theorists. It does in fact exist, as I have proven throughout the show, with the Department of Defense's own audios, videos, and documents. And Eric and I were just discussing a couple of things. And, you know, we've been covering, Eric, the electromagnetic hypersensitivity earlier in the week, also known as EHS, because of the smart meters. And in 2004, as you know, the World Health Organization even declared EHS a phenomenon where individuals experience adverse health effects while using or being in the vicinity of devices emanating electromagnetic or electromagnetic fields, also known as EMFs. Whatever its cause, the EHS is a real and sometimes debilitating problem for affected persons. Currently, research has demonstrated objective evidence to support that EHS diagnosis defining pathopsychological mechanisms include immune dysregulation in vitro with increased production of selected cyclotines and disruption and dysregulation of catecholamine physiology. Until recently, the diagnosis of EHS had not received much support from the medical community due to lack of objective evidence. However, in an effort to determine the legitimacy of EHS as a neurological disorder, a collection of scientists and physicians recently conducted a double-blind research study that concluded that EMF hypersensitivity can occur as a bona fide environmentally inducible neurological syndrome. McCarthy, 2011. So as you know, we're talking about, even though we're talking about the active denial technology, Eric, we're discussing electromagnetic pulses. We're discussing sort of the same issue, even though it's not directly related to Tyler Whitman's case. It is part of the hypersensitivity. What happens to people when they come in contact with that? Are our police departments lined with those and we don't know it? Would it be smarter or better to use that? Especially now, Eric, I've got to say this. And we have a caller on the line. Give me just one moment. We'll get right to you. I have to say this. I would rather them use that if they're going to be unlawfully in Syria than I would rather than for them to use bombs. What do you say about that?
Well, obviously, if we had to make that only choice between those two options, I would agree with you. Can
we agree that they just need to pull their behinds out of Syria and quit invading other countries that they don't belong in the first place?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I thought you would agree with me on that one. We've got a caller, Eric. Hi, Sovereign Man. How are you doing today?
I am blessed and highly favored.
That is so good to hear. What are your thoughts on the active denial technology that we went over tonight?
Well, they are testing them overseas for domestic use. There's no doubt about it. But they are using them here. There's this thing called, have you ever heard of gang stalking?
Yes. Covered a little bit of that last night.
Yep, I was listening. They are being used in a private capacity, so to speak, or could we say in a deep state black capacity.
Right.
I remember when I was at the Bilderberg conference in 2008, I believe that I was hit with something like that. My leg felt like it was on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a cloud burst, and I had a bunch of camera gear. I was doing some videography, so I wanted to get back to the car so that the equipment would get damaged. And as we were going back to the car, my leg was feeling like it was on fire. So the individual that I was with, I said, pull over here at this gas station so I can go in the bathroom, because I wanted to see what was going on, because and I expected to see a burn mark, but it was actually just like a pink concentric circle. It was like a perfect circle.
Yeah.
So it must have been focused.
Right. And now once you went away from that, did the burning stop?
Actually, the sensation of that burning, we're up against the bump.
Okay, hold on there, Sovereign Man. We've got a couple of words from our sponsors coming up. We want to continue to hear what you have to say. We'll be right back after a couple of words from our sponsors, everyone.
Welcome to the place of the left hypocrisy. Little pink
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Do you or a loved one suffer migraine headaches? Listen to what scientist Kurt Hendricks has to say.
If you are one of the millions of people who get migraines, you need to know about MiGrelief. Hi, I'm Kurt Hendricks, the scientist who created MiGrelief, the patented dietary supplement that addresses nutritional deficiencies in adults and children with migraines. Thousands of physicians and pharmacists recommend MiGrelief.
Call 800-MIG-7354 or visit MIG911.com.
Many people write us about their experience with Extendivite. Allow me to read you some from Amazon.com. It really does work like the review says it does. I cannot believe that after the first few days, I didn't feel as sluggish or clogged up. It has had a profound impact on my physical, emotional well-being. I'm skeptical as most people about products and their claims, and I never write reviews, but this is a wonderful product and I recommend it to everyone. Great product. It has brought my blood pressure from the mid-150s over the 80s to the mid-130s over mid-80s, along with diet and exercise in just the past couple of months. Excellent. Thank you, David. Tell us your story. Get Extendivite today. Call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
This is too good to be true, except this time it is real. 100%. No joke. How about a $25,000 membership to Front Sight Firearms Training Facility as a thank you bonus for a one-time donation to RBN of only $500? It is a Commander lifetime membership with no yearly fees or dues. The training is free for the rest of your life with over 50 different classes. Then leave it to your designated beneficiary. You provide the approved firearm, holster, ammo, eye, and ear protection. Many features and bonuses are included, more than you would ever expect or believe. This is the ultimate graduation present, wedding gift, etc., etc. See the details. Go to RBN's webpage and frontsight.com to make it happen. May 5th is the last day you will hear this offer on this radio network. Help keep RBN alive. Tell 5.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Don't label us left or right. Our American. Not looking for a war, but we came to fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. Somebody's gotta do what's right. We're rising 'cause we're fed up. Got our house in order and got yours inside. I am American, that's what I am, that's what I think and what I do. I am American, that's what I am, and I bleed red, white, and blue. And I bleed red, white, and blue. It's not about party, it's about what's right. Our American. Taking back our country, come and join the fight. Our American. Somebody's gotta stand up. Stand up. American, that's what I am. And I bleed red, white, and blue. And I bleed red, white, and blue.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Resurrect the Republic, RTR, Truth Media Reloaded. I'm your host for this evening, Lorri Anderson, joined with Eric Hughes Jones of Courtroom Observers, and we have a caller on the line, Sovereign Man, that was telling us about his experience, that he believes he was also hit with one of the ADTs, or active denial technology. Go ahead, Sovereign Man, and tell us your story.
Yeah, so we went to the nearest. It was like a convenience / gas station, and I went and used the facility in there, and I went in, I checked, and I had like a perfect pink circle on my thigh. So it took a while for the burning sensation to actually dissipate. Like it wasn't like I got out of the beam and it stopped. Mm-hmm. So I know that they can tune those things up, and they can say it only goes so deep. I guarantee you, it can go a whole lot deeper.
Oh, I'm sure they probably could. You don't think that they're going to let that out to the public, do you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely not. I also wanted to mention that they were using in the G20 summit up in Pittsburgh back in the date evades me right at the moment, but they were using what they call sound cannons. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen those.
Are you talking about the voice to skull? Is that what you're talking about?
No, they're not voice, not V2K. It may seem to be like that, but they're basically, you'll see them on the I guess the multi-purpose vehicles. You might want to call it whatever. Could be a Humvee, could be one of those ATSs or whatever you want to call them. They got like 6 wheels on them, but they're not APCs. But anyway, they're basically, it looks like a dish, only it's a flat panel.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of what exactly they're called, but there's basically LRAD. That's what it is. LRAD, sound cannon.
I'm not familiar.
You can look up LRAD. They had those deployed in Pittsburgh at the G20 summit.
Yep.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, because there was a huge protest at one point, and they did this huge sound, and it was so deafening that people would have to hold their ears and ran away.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, your hands aren't gonna do anything over your ears.
I think I remember, because there was a protest years ago where that was actually used. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, it was at the G20 summit at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Now you can use a pair of earphones that you would get at like the store that sells chainsaws, and they have ear protection that covers your entire ear, and they're nice and heavy duty. If you get like a good brand name pair, that will defeat the earplugs. Won't work. You got to get that whole ear covered, like almost like a studio headset, or like you would wear for doing a chainsaw or heavy equipment, where it goes right over the whole ear.
Or for like when you go to the shooting range.
There you go.
Right, because that would help with stopping the vibrations as well. Very interesting. That's something else I will be looking into as well. I found it. Go ahead.
Could I give a shout out on the chat room?
Sure.
It's not active right now, but it's freedomscreenradio.chattango.com. One of the other chatters put a bunch of links in there, and
okay.
You guys want to post like links to articles or whatever that you're going to read or videos, you can do that.
Oh, thank you, Sovereign Man. Thanks for reminding me. We're going to post a lot of the stuff that we have at Courtroom Watch over at the Freedom Scream Radio. I appreciate you setting that up. That was nice of you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I told you that the chat room can be embedded in a website. Not hard to do.
Oh, okay. Great.
So if they went to Courtroom Watch and they wanted to, leave a message, they could drop it in the chat.
Aha, good.
That would be a very
versus on email or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, it's just another venue for communication.
Right.
The more
Absolutely.
the better.
The more the merrier, for sure. Thank you so much, Sovereign Man, for sharing your story too. We appreciate
I pray
that.
I had your protection round about the blessings.
Absolutely. Blessings to you too. And looking through this document, it states in here what defines non-lethal weapons, and then underneath that it says the definition of what constitutes a non-lethal weapon. This according to the Department of Defense, by the way. Is specified in the Department of Defense Directive 3000.03E at its core, and for the purposes of this document, non-lethal weapons are defined by three tenets. Number 1, to deliver immediate target response. Number 2, to provide predictable and intended reversible effects. And number 3, minimize undesired collateral damage. Non-lethal weapons capabilities are further categorized into counter personnel, or CP, or counter material. Core capability areas. The capability area tasks, and I'm going to read to you a table because it's pretty mind-blowing when you read what the capabilities are. Resulting from 2008 Joint Non-Lethal Effects Capabilities-Based Assessment and the associated CP and CM Initial Capabilities documents dated April of 2009 provided a broad function for the development of joint and service unique non-lethal weapon requirements and S&T objectives. Non-lethal capability development, however, is not limited to the target set or effects described in the documents. So the counter personnel tasks, this is what the list is under that one. Deny access into or out of an area to individuals, opened or confined, single, few, or many. To disable individuals, opened or confined, single, few, or many. To move individuals through an area, open, confined, single, few, or many. And suppress individuals, open or confined, single, few, or many. The counter material tax. Now listen to the scariness of this, Eric. Stop small vehicles, stop medium vehicles, stop large vehicles, disable vehicle, many vehicles. Stop small vessels, stop large vessels, disable vessel, many vessels. Stop fixed wing aircraft on the ground, divert aircraft in the air, and deny access to facility in example block points of entry. How scary is that?
You got to figure the Russians and the Chinese and a lot of other Indians, the very smart scientists, you don't think they have the same type of mechanisms to defeat our fighter aircraft? Am I dreaming, or is it,
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely. But this isn't even talking about fighter aircraft.
No, I know, but I'm just extrapolating to the worst case scenario, which is they could shut our Air Force down with the flip of a switch. I would imagine, because this is rudimentary technology that can interfere with or cease the functions of an aircraft. Imagine what they could possibly use against us. It's not looking good for our technology if the enemy, so to speak, has it as well.
Right. And I would say that this has been in use probably for a long time, and because this is publicly available now, and we know that they don't allow things to be publicly available that they're currently working on. We're not that ignorant, are we, really? The vehicle stopping method, of course, is the physical barrier, but I found it interesting in the document that I'm looking at They used a picture of what appeared to be a Ford F-150. You know, it's a drawing, so, I mean, it's just a guess. And it, of course, shows the tack strips, right, for the physical stopping of a vehicle, and then electrical vehicle stoppers. And then it shows the high-powered RFs, them sending signals to the truck. Of course, you know, with a lot of the new vehicles now, they're completely electronic, smart vehicles. Yeah, that's how smart they are. You're setting yourself up to be shut down.
Can I interrupt you there just for a second, because you triggered? I heard somebody the other day told me that Colorado is installing detectors on the highways that read all the information in your car's computer. When it's registered, when the inspection expires, when the registration expires, who's in it, do you have any unpaid tickets, do you have any wants or warrants, do you have, I mean, and not to mention the general databasing of where you're going, when, and possibly with who. It's very interesting that Colorado, well, it's not surprising, though, because apparently I'm told by someone in the service that everything is in Cheyenne Mountain right now. The NSA, the CIA, and the Joint Chief, everything military, so to speak,
is in what there. Mountain?
Cheyenne Mountain, and in the Colorado Springs area. Cheyenne Mountain is it also called Iron Mountain? I can't
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's where the what is it? The North American Air Defense Command, is that NORAD? I believe it's in there. You saw it depicted in the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick, where they go deep inside the mountain and they have all the, it's the computer center, it's the brain, it's the center of operations for most of the, military, especially the air command and the missile defense for North America, if I'm not mistaken. And if they haven't bounced it around or moved it, I'm just going on what I know. So I'd throw that out there.
Right. That's pretty
Colorado's
interesting.
The center of the New World Order right now, believe it or not.
Yeah, that is kind of surprising, since New York has the United Nations building right there. I mean, center of United Nations right there in New York. When are we going to make it illegal for the United Nations to even be on our soil? Yesterday. I'm for that. United Nations and all these fictitious, that's another thing, Eric. I know we're getting off the topic a little bit, but you know what? It's almost towards the end of the show. The United Nations has, allegedly, people are under the impression we have to follow these United Nations treaties. Well, no, we don't, because any of the treaties that we have to follow have to be consistent with the Constitution. So these anomalies, if you will, or these thought patterns that have been ingrained in the people that, oh, well, it's law because we agreed to that treaty. No, first of all, I didn't sign any treaty. You won't find my name on it, so I didn't agree to it. Second of all, it's repugnant to our Constitution, which is the law of the land. So with it being repugnant, it was unlawful to be agreed to in the first place. And, how much of United Nations is seeped through and just infiltrated everywhere in the United States of America, from community boards to police force, through, of course, contracts, because, you have the Council on Foreign Relations, which, of course, sinks into the Special Operations Forces, and SOCOM, Special Operations Command, which, of course, links into DHS, which, of course, DHS contracts with your local police departments and sheriff's departments and all of that good little stuff. And then they wonder why we're having a problem. And people go, oh, if the blue hats come, we're going to make sure to get them out. They're already here. They infiltrated and they turned our guys without our guys even realizing it, pushing international codes. What do you think about that? That's craziness.
Well, let's not forget that the United Nations is not just something that's been around. This is a spin-off from the League of Nations.
Yes, it is.
And the League of Nations was a spin-off from the early I found a very interesting book. I'm scrambling to grab it when you brought this up, but it was at the bottom of the pile. I don't know if I'm going to be able to I'm just paging through it. It was a brief couple of pages in a book called The American Heritage Book of the Pioneer Spirit and Manifest Destiny. There's a couple of pages on the pacifist movement, which when you read it and read what these guys were about, the early anti-war movement was nothing more than the laying the foundation for the one world government and the League of Nations, which would soon follow. Of course, they had to have World War I to get that through, and then World War II, because the League of Nations didn't work and nobody wants a world government.
Well, the League of Nations got caught and got in trouble, too. That's why they got disbanded. So they had to rebrand it, just like they did the New World Order. They had to rebrand that into the New International Order so they could stick it in the United States National Security Strategy of 2015, which was, by the way, one of the disturbing things about the document I read tonight, because that's what that document was going off of. The Strategic Plan 2016 through 2025, Science and Technology Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Program. Yeah, they quoted that they were going off of the National Security Strategy of February 2015. Chapter 5, everyone, if you don't believe me, look it up. National Security Strategy, February 2015. Look up Chapter 5. It's the New International Order. Right in the open. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I still can't find this. It's just a couple of pages in this very big book, and it doesn't seem... It'll give me something to talk about next time you have me on. I don't know if we're going to be together tomorrow, but I could read it to you then if you want me to. It's brief, but it gives the names and the names of the organizations. And one was called the Brotherhood of... Oh, I can't. I wish I could find it here, but it's going to take me a little bit longer. I think.
Did it happen to mention the Club of Rome?
I don't think that was in there. Let me...
How about you look for that, and we'll cover that on a different night, because that's definitely an interesting topic and some history that I guarantee you most of our listeners, well, if there are listeners, then they probably have heard about this, but any new listeners may not have heard about this information. And I'll tell you something, another interesting thing, Eric, and I've said this before over and over again, that guess what year of document was the first time I saw anything about the quote-unquote North American Union? Yes, the same North American Union we've been fighting against today, by the way. Guess what date? 1787.
This goes back a ways.
That was in the secret recordings of in Congress assembled when they were fighting against the Constitution, because they saw it for what it was. It was a flipping of the power from the people being over the states and then the states being over the small, tiny central government. It was a flipping of that power. And they lay it all out in those secret congressional documents. It's amazing how wise they were.
Sure is.
Amazing. I mean, to a T, if you read them, your mouth will drop, because you're like, oh my gosh. How in the world could they possibly have had so much insight? They had to have had God leading them. I mean, just because if you read it, you're like, every bit of that is true. Every bit of it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's amazing. And, yeah, I'll have to discuss those documents one night and leave links for everybody to be able to read. And I'm talking about official documents. I'm not talking about New York Times articles, if you will. We don't do those. But I want to remind everybody, because our topics lately, of course, are dealing with the electromagnetic hypersensitivity, the EHS, the smart meters, and then, of course, now tonight, the active denial technology. But I want to remind everybody that, you know, the goal of mastering the human domain and the Special Operations Forces, Jade Helm 15 and everything like that, even though Jade Helm 15 was a drill, the Sabbat shoe that was in that symbol actually means sabotage, And the mastering the human domain is not about a drill. And this is what is said about mastering the human domain. It is the totality of the physical, cultural, social environments that influence human behavior to the extent that success of any military operation or campaign depends on the application of unique capabilities that are designed to fight and win population-centric conflicts. It's a critical and complementary concept to the recognized domains of land, air, maritime space, and cyberspace. The concept and the addition of a human domain are important because the other domains insufficiently address the human dimension of conflict. Although it is deemed a critical component to land power, further, the addition of the human domain, similar to the 7th warfighting function, will ensure that we are providing a framework to support and employ the complementary capabilities of special operations and conventional forces. Also, Lieutenant General Keith Walker noted that, quote, the rising velocity of the human interaction through the internet and social media makes influencing human behavior the centerpiece of military strategy. As Sun Tzu said, quote, for one to win 100 victories in 100 battles is not the acme of skill. To subdue the enemy without fighting is the acme of skill. So the more you look and the more you dig, the more you realize, once again, that is this more deep state stuff that is going to come back to bite us in the rear. Because that is what this specific document, that of course will be provided for you under the show, the Strategic Plan 2016 through 2025, the Science and Technology Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Program, quotes that in that document for the National Security Strategy of February 2015.
Listen to this. And he's doing a very weird Masonic hand sign. Who is this guy? Beginning in the 1840s, former blacksmith's apprentice Elihu Burritt devoted his vigorous energies to the cause of international peace. The title of the section, just to give people a little teaser for next time, International Peace, Pursuit of the Elusive Vision. And so man's noblest dream that war shall be abolished from the earth is not, of course, exclusively American. And it goes on to talk about these, the Christians, I'm trying to find the name of the group that was the kind of the early UN, the American Peace Society. In May 1828, he founded the American Peace Society.
Okay, and Eric, you're going to have to hold on that note. I'm hearing the music. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Courtroomwatch.org for Eric, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. Resurrect the Republic, RTR Truth Media broadcast. And I am Lorri Anderson, your host. As always, watch your backs, check your facts. Semper Fidelis. Have a wonderful night.
Thanks, Mike.
Interested in photo ops.
Without the right accessories, any guy can be off the mark. Whether you've invested thousands in your arsenal or you own a single trusted firearm, a visit to AROutfitting.com is in order. It's one of the finest online selections of tactical optics and AR parts and add-ons, like EOTech, quick target acquisition with no peripheral loss. Browse the full range of Nikon scopes and binoculars. AROutfitting.com can illuminate your world with Streamlight gun-mounted lights from keychain to large handhelds up to 1,100 lumens. Find some stability with Battenfield tactical bipods. AROutfitting.com has CMMG gun parts, barrels, assemblies, handguards, part kits, and more. Plus mag-full clips and magazines. I know I've got you excited, so take a breath. Head to AROutfitting.com. The site's super easy to navigate and features a ton of technical info, including links to manuals. We also welcome vendor and manufacturer inquiries. Remember, if you don't see it, we can get it at AROutfitting.com.
This is RBN, the Republic Broadcasting Network.